between 2 and 4, and I want to ensure everybody that is going to be an interesting experience. So our focus for today's program is the making of personal and professional development plan. Already we have in the house with us 2 major experts. We have invited as our guest speakers to help us do justice to the discourse. We know they are capable, given their cognate track years of experience in the field of HR and in their personal career journey. So we want to welcome all of us formally, and we are trying to also wait before I start the introduction of our first speaker in the next 3 minutes. Quickly on the rules. So as we come in, we want us to maintain a decorum by just muting ourselves until there is time for us to speak, when we allow for that. So we want us to ensure that our background in our various places does not disturb the flow of communication throughout the event. So we want all of us to keep to this rule. And for this event, our focus mainly on young professionals, career starters, our children, starting from age 18 and above, and those of us that are willing to make our career very interesting in the next 5, 10 years. So today's program, we are going to learn a lot of planning tips on how to forge ahead about our future, and that is the focus of the program. Our first speaker in the house is Mr. Akinleye Joshua. I'm going to do is a brief give off when it is time for that. Okay. Our second, Rashida Dibalo, and it is time so that this today's discourse. So for the opening remark, hello, Alaji Sumanu.
Yes, my brother, I'm here.
Okay, so we have one of our invitee, our headers in the house, and we would like him to take us through the opening remark in a few minutes. Thank you very much, sir. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, my brother Yola. Once again, I want to commend your efforts and appreciate the service CSR that the Academy is offering. This time around, not only to Muslims, but to the population at large. I will pray that Almighty Allah accept every effort of us as an act of ibadah. My brothers, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to welcome you. I want to join the GM Leadership Havek International Academy to welcome you to this second series. I want to thank the organizers of this seminar for their efforts bringing these topical issues together. These topical issues, like you know, is one issue that we need to tidy up. It's not only limited to the young or young adults, but also to anybody who wants to create a landmark path for him or herself in either his personal or his business or career endeavor. So once again, I want to say that as we are for bringing these topical issues together, which should be very beneficial to our youths or young adults that are evolving either as aspiring or emerging entrepreneurs that are destined to rule the world. This leadership lecture series is wind together, and we urge all participants to take advantage of this opportunity. If you permit me to take you briefly back to yesterday, you will see that we started from you and your business in 2021. And that also relates to personal and career. And today again, we are happy that we're talking about personal and professional development plan. So once again, I must appreciate especially the speakers who have agreed to part away with their 40s. 40s now to make impact in the life of Muslims and Nigerians in general. I will support the topic of today because one is coming at the appropriate time. Two is coming at a period when we all feel that the economic climb is at the lowest ebb. Three is coming at a time when people a bit on the depression level. And four, when the skill gaps need to be bridged. When skills are bridged, it makes our youths better organized, and we help them with skills that will make them equipped for the future. And this takes us to the element of planning. And this, which totally means the process of thinking about activities required to achieve our desired goals. Like you know, planning's first and foremost an activity is the basic activity to achieve a desired results. It involves creation and maintenance of a plan so that
I think we lost.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you, sir.
Good. When did I go off? Where?
Just the first last one.
Okay. I said planning is nothing but thinking about thinking before an action takes place. That's just planning. And our speakers will do a lot of justice to this. And I just feel that I just need to agree that we need to talk about our personal life and our career path. Hence, the topic of today is ideal and very timely. And I want to urge our speakers to please also not to forget to take us through the impediments of what we call PDP in HR, and that's the personal development plans. Because a lot of us starts well, and along the line we have issues, and I'm sure the speakers would are more than good enough to take us through this topic. Once again, I want to welcome all the listeners. I want to welcome all the audience, and please share for subsequent edition. Please share with your friends, families, and partners so that they will also be able to benefit from the knowledge sharing initiative of Havek Leadership Academy. Once again, I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to a very wonderful, brilliant, and educative discourse. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate your introduction to the topic of discourse today. So some of us just joined. We would like to remind us, immediately we join, just mute yourself, and please let us maintain proper decorum. We don't allow our background to disturb what we're doing throughout the program. Immediately you join us, mute yourself, please. Very important. Thank you very much. So we want to go to the first discourse of today on the topic. We already have our speaker with us, and that's the person of Mr. Kinleye Joshua. Permit me to give you some introduction about Mr. Kinleye Joshua. Mr. Kinleye Joshua is a human resources professional with over 16 years general management experience. and the experience cut across the fast-moving consumable goods, that is FMCG, hospitality, and manufacturing companies, with proven record of success in all these sectors. He has performed excellently in the area of strategic HR, and he has contributed to talent management, recruitment and selection, succession planning, change management, learning and manpower development, compensation and benefit management, also industrial relations and administration. Prior to his current place of intellectual rendering, and that is Vista International Limited, he has worked in a number of organizations. He was the HR and the manager in charge of administration in Reader National Plastics. He was also at the time with Dangote Cement PLC. He was at the time with Mondola Group, also Technoglass Industries Limited, and more Plus Ventures. So academically, Mr. Akinleye had 2 masters. He had masters in media psychology from University of Lagos. He also has MBA in human resources management from University of Ilorin, Kwara State. His alma mater is Unilag, and I think that's where I got. We lived together for almost 5 years. So he read business administration for his first degree. He's very active in social service. He's a full member of Chartered Institute of Personnel and Management of Nigeria. Permit me to tell you briefly, Mr. Akinleye Joshua is more than an HR specialist. He's a generalist, and he's a group HR for the Vista International Limited I've mentioned earlier, and this is a company overseeing 5 different subsidiaries, ranging from ABC Limited, Vista Group, Artemis Life Science Limited, and Seaway Pharmaceutical Limited. So, Mr. Joshua, you are welcome to our program, and we'd like to also welcome you to your segment so that you can deliver what you have for us in store. So, can you please unmute yourself?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe everybody can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, at least to share part of my wealth of experience with everyone in this webinar. Like the moderator have said, I have been in the industry for more than 16 years, and I've worked with various industries across the board. I would just like us to be very attentive with what I'm going to discuss this afternoon, because it's going to do every one of us a lot in terms of personal and professional development plan. Because at the element of anyone starting his career, you really have to develop your plan. What do you want for yourself? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to, where do you want to be in the next 10 years? Where do you want to be in the next 15 years? Where do you want to be in the next 20 years? How can I go about it? So thank you very much. I have a slide that I'll be going faster. I may not have opportunity to explain slide by slide, but I believe at the end of the lecture, the slide will be available for everyone. Thank you. Okay, can we go about this slide 1? I said achieving success with personal and professional development plan. That's my slide 1. So that's the cover page. So from there, going to slide 2. What is success? I believe Majority of us know what is success. What is success? Some people will say, success is if I'm able to achieve. Yes, you are right. But success means a lot of things to different people. But for you to achieve success, there are 12 riches in life, according to Napoleon Hill in the Science of Success. Those 12 riches will allow you to achieve success in life. Some people will say, okay, success to me is if I have money, if I make money, I'm okay, I'm successful. Success is not only about making money, it entails a lot of things. So I have put it down, the 12 riches in life, which start from a positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude. If you have a good positive mental attitude, you can achieve success. Number two, you can have a good sound head. If you don't have a good sound head, how do you want to achieve success? You cannot achieve success because it is the sound head that makes part of the success. Number three, harmony in all relationships. Do you have a good relationship with your co-worker? Do you have a good relationship with your co-friends? Do you have good relationship with everybody around you? It's part that make what a success. If you have a good relationship with people. Number four, I said freedom from fear. Some people used to say that, fear, how will I make it? How can I go about it? You have to free yourself from fear. You have to say, have the mind that I can achieve this and I can do it. If you don't put that fear away, you will let everything weigh you down. Number five, I said hope of achievement. Some people in life, they do say, I cannot achieve this. I cannot make it. You have already put yourself down that you cannot achieve it. But when you said, yes, this is what I can achieve, this is what I can do, then you can go about it and achieve that success. Number six, the capacity for faith. Do you have faith? Do you have faith, either a Christian or a Muslim? It doesn't matter, but you must have a faith. If faith takes a long while in achieving success in life. Number seven, willingness to share one's blessing. Yeah, some people, when you talk about some people, you talk about those people who have made it in life, talk about Bill Gates, talk about Dangote. You can talk about them because they have shared their blessings, how they are able to get to the top. They have shared it with people. And people are now, okay, I want to be like Dangote, I want to be like Bill Gates. Number eight, a labor of love. Do you have a labor for love? Do you do things with love? Or do you just do it, I just want to do it? Or you have to do it willingly with love from your heart. Number nine, open mind on all subjects. When you open your mind to whatever you want to do, even though if you don't know it, if you are still learning, you have to open your mind to all subjects around you so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. Number 10, self-discipline. You have to discipline yourself. Getting to the top is not easy, but a good discipline can take you up there and make you to achieve your goal. Number 11, the capacity to understand people. You have to have a capacity to especially in the workplace. If you don't understand your boss, if you don't understand your co-worker, if you don't understand your friend, then how do you want to achieve success? Then the last one, which is financial security. You see, like I said in the first place, that some people said, if I have money, I can achieve success. You see that the financial security is the last, not even the first. So you see that, note that the financial security is the bottom of list. why the positive mental attitude is top. So success can be measured only in material benefits and gain. Also focus on the other 11 riches of life and be grateful for yourself. So I think with these 12 riches in life, you can achieve success. So can you take us to the third slide? Okay, thank you. This last slide, I'm talking about what is my personal growth plan. Each and every one of us has to have a particular growth plan that you want to achieve. If you don't have your growth plan, then you cannot achieve success. A very good growth plan will tell you what do you want to achieve in life? What do you want to be in the next 10 years? What are the paths you want to follow? Or how can I get there? That's what you need to do when you are doing your personal growth plan. So as you go along this line, you will see example of this personal growth plan. So next slide. Okay. So I want every one of us in this house to look or to reflect back about what you have in the 1 year ago, what you have done in 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10, even though more than 10 years. I remember I've left university close to 20 years now, maybe 1 or 2 years from 20 years. I've left university. I remember when I left university, my goal, I said, this is what I want to achieve in 15, 20 years in my life. I want to be a good HR. I want to be a JHR generalist. I want to be at the top of my game. I want to be an head of the HR owner for a company, which today I've been able to achieve. So this shows your plan. What do you want to achieve in the next 10 years? You would have been dreaming about this, not about your first time, dreaming it from your onset before you even graduated from school. You'll be able to say, this is what I want to achieve. So, thank you. Next slide. According to Bill Gates, he said, if you are born poor, it is not your mistake. But if you die poor, it is your mistake. I believe most of us will understand these quotes. If you are born poor, it's not your mistake. Because you are fortunate to be born in that area or to that family. But what have you done? Put yourself that, okay, I don't want to be in this poor stage of my life. I want to take charge and I want to recharge myself and take control. That's what Bill Gates have done. Bill Gates was a dropout, and see what Bill Gates have achieved today. Some people will say, I was born into a family, a poor family, so I cannot achieve anything. But you can make it if you really reflect and take control of your life. Please, next slide. So the choice is yours. If you want to remain poor, it's yours. If you want to path you want to follow, whether you want to become a poor or poorer or poor for yourself, or you want to become rich and become richer every day, it is in your hand. So you choose out of the two. It's either you become a rich man or you become a poor man. Thank you. Next slide. So I said, how for an athletic person in the field, he has been practicing for many years. The race I have in the next 2 weeks, I want to be number 1. So if you have planned and go after what you want, you will spend your entire life getting what you want. So an athlete that said, okay, I want to be in the first position, and eventually when the race on the race day, he was the first when the race was finally through. So for you to achieve your personal goal, you would have been planning, and eventually you get to what you want to achieve in life. Next slide, please. So according Mark Twain, he said 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed. You'll be more disappointed by the things that you do not do than by the ones you did do. So throughout the low lines, catch the trades, win and your slave, explore, dream, and discover. That shows that your action that you have taken today, eh, it will, in the next years to come, you will still come back and reflect the action you have taken today. So in life, the action you are taking today, reflect about it, and also know that, okay, this action, is it going to be a good benefit for me in the years to come? Or is it going to be something that will hurt me in the years to come? Some people, you see elderly people now that they have failed to plan years back. And now they'll be regretting that, okay, assuming I know my father said I should go to school then. I didn't go to school. Now see what I'm doing. So what you are doing today is a reflection of what you are going to achieve years later. So kindly think about it. Thank you. Next slide. So personal growth. Yes, I'm taking you to your personal growth plan. I have tried to develop a personal growth plan, which I have personally make use of in the course of my career. So preparing my personal growth plan, I have done this. Next slide. Yes, you can see the diagram. I have developed this and I have made use of this for myself, which have worked for me. So you see my life. What is my life purpose? What is my mission in life? What is my vision in life? What is my personal branding? What brand would I want to brand myself? What is my personal value? So all these are your personal growth plan that you have to write somewhere, and you have to be following it one after the other. So my personal goal, what is my personal goal? In the next 5 years, in the next 20 years, what is my goal? What is my life project? What did I want to achieve in life? What project did I want to even take up? So these are growth plans that I have worked on and I've used for myself, and it has worked for me for over the years, which I believe everyone, some of you can also take and also use it, and it will work for you if you follow it diligently. So I want to try as much as possible to explain this personal growth plan, at least one after the other, the one I can do at least for a few minutes that we still have. So, okay, next slide. Okay, thank you. So, firstly, I said, if you look at it, I said, my personal growth plan, what is based on my personal development, ability, and need to consciously plan my growth. So I have developed my personal growth for myself. And this is what I want to achieve in the next years to come. Like there are some plans that are short-term plans, and there are long-term plans too that you want to do. You have a short plan that's okay in the next 1 to 3 years. This is what I want to quickly achieve. And some people say long-term plan, which is in the next above 5 years, that what you want to achieve in them 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you would have developed your plan and you follow it one after the other. Next slide. So you also talk about How can I make a difference? How can I add value to the lives of others? How do I want to live? What is my deep driving desire? So all this is still fall under your purpose that you want to develop for your plan. Next slide. So I give an example of it. To be remembered as someone who cares for my family and close friends. To be a positive influence to others through God's will. To live peacefully with others around me. To be respectful and to take care of my parents. To provide help and assistance to the poor and the needy. To live a life committed and devoted to God. So next slide. So I now move to the next, which is what is my vision? Everybody have a vision. Even though as an organization, they have vision, they have mission, they have vision. Vision tell you what you want to be or what you want to achieve within your limited, what I want to be. How do I think about it? How can I go about it? You associate with impact in the long term because the vision has to corroborate with your mission. The two goes hand in hand. You see an organization, they will put their statement. This is our vision, and this is our mission. So you see that the two goes hand in hand. So next slide. So I also put an example of a vision. So like some people will say, I want to attain a PhD. I want to make sure that I become a lecturer and I become a doctor, and at the same time I will have achieve and get professorship. Yeah, it's fine. It's your mission. It's what you want to achieve, which you have been years ago. To be like myself, like I said, when I finished university, I said, yes, I want to become an HR professional. And I know that after like 12 years or 10 years, I should become an HR manager and I will be an head of an HR in an organization. Yeah, this I have achieved. This is my vision, and I've achieved my vision. Next slide. So, talking about, I said the other time that vision and mission go hand in hand. And for you, if you have a vision, you also have your mission. So, what do you want to focus on? What do you want to accomplish in the next 1 year to 3 years towards achieving your personal vision? You will start writing it right down from today. Some people have failed because they don't have vision and they don't have mission. A thoroughly defined mission and vision will make you to achieve your plan in life. Next slide. So I give example here. What you want to achieve, how to achieve it, how do you want to maintain it, how do you want to, you have to have an excellent KPI for yourself because KPI is a key performance indicators. Even though in organization we use it to monitor performance for every staff in organization. So a KPI is key performance indicator. You have to have a key performance indicator for yourself to draw that this is the parameters I'm going to use to score myself if I fail or if I pass. So a good KPI will direct you to a good career path and also a good development plan. Next slide. Next, okay. So going by this, your personal branding. Everybody should have a personal branding for yourself. My personal branding, I brand myself as an HR person, and I brand myself that nobody can replace me in any organization I work. That's my personal branding. You have to have your personal branding for yourself in the markets you belong to, in the professional you belong to. You have to have your personal branding for yourself. Next slide. So I give example of personal branding. Those are positive attitude, inspiring, knowledgeable leaders, organized, then dedicated, loyal, aggressive, demanding, you care about, egoistic. So those are the personal branding that people will see that, okay, even though if you leave one organization and go to another organization, your former organization will say, you have not seen this HR manager like Mr. So. He was a personal man. You see his branding. He has been doing this, doing that, doing this. So you have to have your personal branding for yourself. Next slide. So I talk about personal value. Personal value. Personal value, a value what you yourself believe in. So my personal value are deeply believe that I believe is good for me, that guides my behavior and decision in whatever I'm doing. So personal value are personal drive. They are personal driving force and influence that actions and reaction that guide your actions and reaction. So as a person, what are your personal qualities, standard and principle? What do I value most? You have to know, okay, for me, I valued my behavior. I valued what decision I want to take in any situation. So I make sure that I didn't just jump into what conclusion that say, okay, concerning a staff that I want to make. So I just jump into this is what I want to have. So you have to have your personal behavior and personal decision that show that this decision I'm taking is to the best of my understanding and it's going to be a good decision. Even though if anyone comes there and say, you have made a good decision. Thank you. Next slide. So in the personal growth, I've also put an example of your branding and everything, which are when you are making your decision, your integrity, your respect, your caring, your ability to work with other people, your competency. Those are great examples that everyone has to follow if you want to do your personal plan. Next slide. Yes, I once heard, and I believe it's true. It's not what you achieve in life that matters. It's what you overcome. Yeah. And according to Tiger Woods, he said achievement on the golf course are only part of setting an example. Characters and decency are what really count. Yes, when you have a good character on the pitch, like Tiger Woods, a good character, a good decency, how to move, how to set your target, and you hit your target is what makes you a great achiever. Not just you just make it and you are calling yourself that I've achieved everything. You have to have a good character and decency to achieve this. Thank you. Next slide. Yeah. Who is a professional? Who is a professional? Some people will say, yeah, I'm a professional. Yeah, you are a professional. Well, what makes you a professional? It's a attribute of many things. As a professional, you have to be a punctuality staff. As a professional, you have to have respect for others. As a professional, you have to be objectivity. As a professional, you have to be faster grappling of issues. You have to issues that you can able to resolve or solve issues that comes your way. You have to have ethical observance. You have to be sincere or sincerity in whatever you are doing. You have to be simplicity and you have to be diplomacy. You have to be integrity. A professional has to be integrity, not that I remember one of our core value in Charter Institute of Personal Management of Nigeria is integrity. So integrity matters. So open-minded, knowledge of the subject. You have to have knowledge of the subject. You have to be analytical mind and adaptability. In any situation, you have to be adaptable in that situation and able to be analyze that situation. Then learning always. As a professional, I'm not saying that because I went to school, I have BSc, I have masters, I'm a member of Chartered Institute of Personal Management of Nigeria, then I will not learn. I am still learning. You have to learn every day because the world is changing. You have to continue to learn. So those are the things that make up a great professional. Thank you. Next slide. Yes. As you are planning for your career and professional development, there must be a life and work goals and projects that you want to achieve. Like I said earlier, I said some people will say, what do I want to achieve in the next 1 to 3 years? Which are your short-term goals? Okay, for those people that still want to go to school, I want to get admission. I want to make sure that in the next 3 years, I have my admission. Some people have already finished school, are looking for a job. Okay, what are your goals? I want to get job in social company. I want to get job in social. I want to go for my master's. I want to do the. Have you really developed your plans? Have you really worked towards that goal? Have you even did that project that says, okay, I will achieve this? Have you developed your smarts? I believe most of us will know the meaning of smart. Smart is specific, measurable, attainable, time bound, and the R stuff of what's now. So
realistic.
Those are the principles that one has to follow. You have to have your smart goal in order for you to achieve. So next slide. Yeah, this is another area which I want most of us to focus on. Work-life balance. In this, our part of the Western, our part of this world, Africans, most of us, we didn't do work-life balance. Some of us just work, and we don't even have anything to balance it up. Work-life balance has to do with the concept to find the right balance on time and energy between works and other important aspects of life, be it family, be it friends, be it community participation, be it spiritual, be it personal growth and self. So you have to develop a work plan for yourself. Okay, you are working, you have a career. Do you balance it up with your own? Do you balance it up with your family? Do you balance it with your social life? A work-life balance. That's why you see those people in the Western world. When you talk about Western world, the Europe, the Americans, you will see them that they have a time that they will have a break. They'll say, okay, this time is summer. Yeah, they will go for holidays. In this our part of the country, some people, even though in the working place, you ask them to go for leave. They will say, no, guy, I don't want to go for leave. No, I don't want to go. Even though you can pay me for that money, I don't want to go. You can pay me. And at the end of the day, you see them falling sick. That's what we call work-life balance. You have to go and rest, refresh your brain, so that by the time you are going to resume, everything would have balanced you. You have a fresh thinking about the organization and whatever you want to do. So thank you. Next slide. So I have also designed the life and work goals and projects for for young people coming up, so that they can be able to use it as a guide in terms of career, in terms of bosses, co-workers, what do you want to do, in terms of life goals and projects, in terms of self, in terms of family and social. I've put everything in under so that you can look about this and you can use it to develop your own work plan and project. Thank you. Next slide. Then I've also designed a personal growth plan that one can use for yourself. You can write it down or print it, write your name, date, and say my personal purpose or my life purpose. What are your life purpose? You write it down. My personal vision. What is my personal vision in life? What do you want to achieve? What is my vision? What is my personal branding? What is my personal value? If you write this thing down, maybe in 3 bullet points, you write it down, this is what I want to achieve. So you can be following this because what you have written down is what you cannot erase. And once you see it, I've not achieved this, I have to go out for it. I've not achieved it, I have to go for it. Next slide. Yeah, I also developed this, say my goal.
Okay.
In the next 5 years, in the next 20 years, I put my life goals, I put my work goals, I put the dates that I want to achieve it, I put KPI, what are the key performance indicators I have to put in place, and what will help me to achieve this. Those, I put my action plan. What did I need to do? What is my action plan? What did I need to do to get to this goal that I've set for myself? I put in the next 12 months, what am I learning in life? What am I going to learn? What am I going to achieve? So I put my work, that what do I want to do in the next 6 months, in the next 8 months, in the next 1 year, what am I going to achieve? What decision am I going to lay down? So, next slide. So, thank you. I think I've been able to put.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you. We really appreciate what you have been able to deliver so far on the topic. Indeed, the presentation is rich, though we may not have much time at our disposal. Give more and more ourselves, but I want to really thank you for this presentation. Very rich.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I don't know, because our speaker has to move. He still have another engagement. If we have questions, can we raise up our hand so that we can ask him? We still have second presentation for the day. Can we raise up our hand if you have questions? Okay, I think I've seen some. Okay. Any questions?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. There is no question for our first presenter of the day. We may have to thank Mr. Akinleye Joshua once again for that professional teaching. He has really delivered and met the requirement of that discussion. So we want to thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
And we wish you
can I just
for today.
Okay,
thank you. We are grateful, sir.
Thank you, sir. Can I just do my last?
We can move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
With our program.
Thank you very much. Bye.
So, you can see has been done in the last what we have done in the last 30-35 minutes. So we want to go to the second topic. We have our second presenter in the house, and that is Madam Rashida to the developer. I would like to give an insight into our profile so that we can understand I'm coming. I want to do an introduction. Okay. Madam Rashidat Edidi Balogun is a graduate of geography from Premier University of Ibadan. Personally, she fell in love with and started her journey into HR when he was an undergraduate with ICEC. Anyway, I don't know the meaning of that. Maybe she will tell us. She has over 8 years of experience in HR field across multiple fast-moving consumable goods, like our first speaker too. So he's a HR specialist by practice. So she's also passionate about youth advocate. We are all conversant of her. We know her very well. She's one of us, and she has been doing that greatly. She's the founder of the B Initiative, a community-based youth-focused NGO. So she's a social entrepreneur, and she has been doing her bit to move the nation forward. She's currently the admiral of the NASFAT Youth Wing headquarters. She's also a people manager at International Breweries PLC. So Rashida is happily married with 2 amazing boys, and she has spent most of her time and her life in volunteering and mentoring young boys. And that is why she prefers to be called youth advocate. So you are welcome, ma, to our program today.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity to not necessarily share from my experience, because I'm not sure I have that much experience to be qualified to share, but to share from the bits and pieces of knowledge I have also picked up over the years as a people manager and an HR practitioner. So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for sharing your evening with me. I am not qualified to be a lecturer, so I would not be lecturing us. However, we will be sharing nuggets with ourselves on the making of the personal and professional development plan. The first speaker, Mr. Joshua, thank you very much, sir. You've done so much justice into leading into why do we really even need a personal or a professional development plan, typically called the PDP. Why do we need to have a plan? Basically, if you have the picture of success, then you need to have a plan to achieve that picture of success. You do not wake up one day to build a house and just go and start buying bricks and mortars and iron rods. You actually have to put together a plan. So that's exactly what your personal and professional development plan is. So we'll just go into it. A lot of people use the term interchangeably, but I like to separate both terms, because I feel like there's some distinction to both. A personal development plan is actually a written account of self-reflection and improvement. Now, self-reflection talking about you looking at the past. Improvement talking about you looking at the future, where you want to be. So your PDP is actually a bridge. It's the bridge that links the past to the future you want to achieve. And basically, it's about the action plan you put together to fulfill any of your goals, which could be academic, it could be personal, it could be career-based, it could be social-based. Your personal development plan is typically broader and oftentimes speaks to more long-term things. So when you talk about wanting a plan as to you're a young man and you think you want to get married, but you know that there are certain things you want to put in place before you get married, that's a personal development plan. Because at the same time you're planning to get married, you're also, of course, working on your career, you're working on getting a house, you're working on taking care of your family. So all of that comes together into your personal development plan. However, your professional development plan is more specific. Your professional development plan, in some circles, it's called the employee development plan. For some people, they call it the IDP, individual development plan. Some people call it the career development plan. So whatever it is you choose to call it, it's basically about your career goals. So remember, we've said that your PDPs are the bridge that link the past to the future. So your professional development plan is actually the action bridge that links where you're coming from in your career to where you're going to in your career. And it's basically your strategy on how to get to your goals in your career. It basically documents the goals It documents the skills that you require, the skills and competences, the knowledge, skills and competences that you require to actually achieve that goal. It also documents the continuous improvements that you need to put in place and your career development chart. So that's basically what your professional development plan does for you. It provides the structure and the guidance that is needed for you to be proactive. Because typically what happens is, and let's make this practical. If we cast our minds back to when we're in the university, there were a lot of us in the class. We were all working towards the same goal, having a BSc in whatever course we were studying. However, you find that some people have been slightly more proactive in terms of what exactly do they want to do. When you go to the university, and when I mentor a lot of young people, my typical first question is, why exactly are you studying the course you're studying? You will find out that some of the people will just tell you, oh, well, I'm studying this course to get a job. But there isn't any clear path as to what kind of job exactly do you want to get. So you find that you go to school, finish the degree, and then you start applying, and because you have uncles, aunties, whatever, just give me any job. And really, is there any career position called any job? No. So there's that need to actually be very proactive in developing a career plan. And once you actually are that proactive, it helps you to channel the steps that you need to reach that goal. And finally, your PDP helps to establish your aims. It helps you to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. Because remember, we said it's about linking the past to the future. And before you can actually actively do that, you need to understand where you are. You need to understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. You need to identify the areas of improvement and develop personalized actions to achieve them. It's important to know that all of this needs to be personal to you, because even though we may have the same plans, we all want to be, let's say there are two of us and we both want to become HR directors in the next 5 years. However, we may be at different stages in our career right now. So the actions we will take to get to that HR director position in 5 years are going to be different. It's going to be unique to each person. Our strengths and weaknesses are also different. So the actions I would need to focus on may be different from the actions that you need to focus on. And so it's very important that you don't just copy and paste, lift somebody's PDP. We're all on different stages in our journey. We're all heading in different directions. So it's actually very important that we keep that in mind and, focus on that. So we've talked about the need for a PDP, but what do you need to do to actually put together an effective PDP? And these are just some steps that, like I said, I'm just sharing nuggets from knowledge I have also picked up over time. But these are steps that I feel that when you follow would help you put together a PDP that would actually be effective. So the first thing is, because you're trying to create a bridge between the past and the future, you need to know where you are. So you need to do a self-assessment. You need to be able to assess yourself and say, oh, this is where I am. This is where I'm going. But in that journey, this is the point I have gotten to. So if I use the example of wanting to become a people director, an HR director, I would look at myself and say, okay, where am I in this journey? I am currently a people manager, meaning that I have crossed some Rubicons, but there are still some paths to go to get to my goal. You now need to be able to identify specific career goals. And these career goals have to be specific. So we will come to making your goals SMART, just like the earlier speaker had mentioned. But you need to be able to identify specific career goals. It's not enough to want to be a great HR person. And I see that a lot in a lot of young people when I engage them. Oh, what are your career goals? Well, I want to be a manager. A manager of what? What kind of manager do you want to be? Not just in what kind of role, but in terms of, it talked about your personal brand. What kind of manager do you want to be, reflecting your personal brand? And, let me just give an example of a specific goal. So one of the things that for me personally has been a goal is to be able to go more and do more around mentoring and mentoring young people. And I realized that for a while that had taken the back burner because of work responsibilities. I had to be specific. And last year I did set a goal for myself to say I would do at least one mentoring or speaking assignment per quarter. Now that was me being specific to say, you know, I would have a speaking engagement to mentor young people at least once every quarter. And when you now identify all the goals you need to achieve your career goal, you need to now prioritize, because and let's use a career switch, because that's another thing that happens to a lot of young people today. You want to switch career. You've been a salesperson all your life and you would like to cross into finance, maybe because you had a finance background in school, but you've always worked in sales and you would still love to practice finance. Now that's a broad term, long-term goal. You then break it down into specific career goals. What do you need to do? You've assessed yourself. This is where you are. What do you need to do to be able to get there? What are the goals you need to achieve? You need to break them down. So maybe you need to brush up your finance skills, take refresher courses, maybe do some professional ICANN ACCA, maybe volunteer. It could be in your company, it could be somewhere else, but you now break those down into specific goals. To say, I need to get more finance qualifications in the next 3 years. I need to attend 3 finance seminars within the next year. I need to sign up and join a group of finance people, specific goals. And then once you get all those goals, you cannot achieve everything at the same time. So you need to prioritize. It is very, very important that we prioritize our goals. Otherwise, you would find out that you're suddenly just chasing shadows. You need to begin to apply the Pareto principle. What's the 20% of things that you would put your time and energy into and will give you 80% of the goals? So when you prioritize your goals, it makes it easy for you to begin to achieve them. And then you need to do a skills evaluation. You need to identify what professional skills you already have and what professional skills you need to work on. That's the only way you can begin to, that's at the point where you're beginning to build the bridge. This is what I have, but this is what I need. So what do I need to do to acquire the skills that I need? And in all of this, you now build a plan to achieve it. Your plan that talks about your timelines, that talks about what resources you will need. The earlier speaker had shared a couple of templates and all. You now need to build a plan at this point. And then it's very important that while you're developing your PDPs, you put a timeline to each goal. Not a broad timeline that says, oh, I want to move into accounting in the next 5 years. But for each specific goals, you need to be able to put specific timelines for those targets. So when you talk about getting more professional qualifications, you need to put a specific timeline to it. When you talk about joining professional bodies, you need to put a specific timeline to it. When you talk about volunteering or, you could even take a goal to say you actually, maybe you may have to take a step down in your job to do a role that would give you the professional exposure that you want. So you have to put specific timelines to that. And then, very important, you need to evaluate your plan. You need to make your plans flexible. Like I said, we're all in different stages of our journey, and we're not going to stay in this stage forever. As you're changing, the environment is also changing. And you need to make your plans flexible enough and evaluate it constantly to make sure that it is specific and relevant at all times. Sometimes we change in our station in life. You get another opportunity at work. You suddenly find out the fact that you get an exposure to a new field and you're like, do you know what? Maybe this other one that I've even been chasing I've gotten a new passion, and you need to rework your professional development plan. Sometimes the environment itself changes. Remember that right now we are in a VUCA environment. It's a VUCA world. It's volatile. It's uncertain. There's a lot of change happening. And there's a lot of ambiguity out there. So anything can happen. Some technology suddenly happens in your space, and you realize the fact that, you know what I was thinking was the in thing is no longer the in thing, and you need to adjust. So you need to constantly evaluate your plan, and you need to be able to measure your progress. Because if you put all of this in place and you're not measuring, you're going to suddenly find out the fact that you may not actually be achieving what you need to achieve. In theory, you may look like, oh, I've done so much. But if you don't set a clear plan to measure your progress, you may get to that 5 years and realize, man, do you know what? I actually skipped 3 major things that would have helped me achieve my overall goal. So it's very important that we measure our progress at every stage. Like I said, this is just me sharing nuggets. So I'm quite happy to see if some of us could just drop our comments in the chat box of what we think would make our professional development plans more effective. So I'll be looking into the chat box, and I really need to see that we're following. The only way that I'm going to know that we're following is if I see us. Okay. Somebody says you're talking of the presentation, right?
I don't. You can continue.
Oh, okay. So somebody says we need to put it in SMART. Yes, we need to make our goals very smart. So that's going to sort of lead us to the next slide.
Okay.
Which actually talks about setting SMART goals. Because otherwise, we'll just find out that we're setting goals and we're not achieving anything. The only way we can actually turn our goals into reality is to make sure that our goals are SMART. And what does SMART mean? It's an acronym, really. Specific. Your goals have to be specific. They should be simple and clear. It is your goal. You're not using grammar to impress anybody. So don't try to craft something so complex that even for you, it becomes difficult for you to remember why you actually set the goal. So your goals should be simple and clear. It should basically focus on, and you should also be able to, in crafting your goal, look at the resources and the people that you would need to be able to achieve the goal. It's always very important that you actually use action words in setting your goals. I would do. I would, rather than just saying, train people. You see, I would train. It makes it, can the host please help mute people who come in? It's a bit of interference. Okay, so it makes it very more realistic to you when you actually use action words and you actually use it in the first person, because it is your personal goal. It's personalized to you. The M there stands for measurable. So we've talked about that in the previous slide. You need to be able to set goals that you can measure. So when I said I want to do 1 mentoring speaking engagement per quarter, it was measurable. That means that at the end of the year, when I'm assessing myself, I need to have done 4. So, I was doing an evaluation with my husband the other day, and we talked about the fact that when COVID came up in Q2, I really couldn't do any, but then I was able to make up for it because in Q4, I did 2. So it's important for you to set measurable things you can measure yourself with. And this basically allows you to stay focused and to meet your deadlines. It has to be actionable. You need to be able to make your goals actionable. They should be challenging, but achievable. Sometimes you're setting goals and in your mind, you're already telling yourself, oh, moment, this one, or yo, how do I want to do it? So don't stretch. You need to set stretch goals, but don't set goals that you cannot achieve. They need to be actionable and achievable. As you're setting your goals, you need to be able to identify opportunities that would help you achieve those goals. Not that you're setting the goals and you're already putting up blockers by yourself to say, you know what, I know I can't do this thing. The goals have to be realistic and reachable. You need to consider the resources that you have available in setting your goals. If you set goals beyond the resources that you have, then it's going to be very difficult for those goals to be actionable or reachable. So you need to set it within the time frame and resources that you have available so that you can commit to it adequately. And they have to be time-based. So we had talked about setting timelines earlier. Your goals should have a start and a finish date. And that is what's going to motivate you and allow you to plan properly to achieve it. Of course, I've talked about flexibility, but if you keep it open-ended, then you're not going to achieve anything. But when you give yourself timelines, and there are some of us, we all operate differently. I, for example, work better on strict timelines. Once I know there's a time to it, I double up myself. I go all out to make sure that I achieve it within that timeline. So it's very important, like I said, for us to set SMART goals. So going through it again, your goals have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be actionable, they have to be realistic, and they have to be time-based. Now, Alaji Sumono had, said something earlier when he was giving his opening remarks and talked about the fact that there are some things that are blockers to achieving your goals. So this is basically some of the things I do and I found out to work for me and to work for people that I have come across in my career in achieving your objectives. The first three parts of it I took from a learning principle that I came across very early in my career. It's the 70-20-10 learning principle. And it's basically because 70% of what you need is gained on the job. 70% of what you're going to need to be able to achieve your goals will be gained on the job. It is not from people doing it for you or from training. 70% of it is going to be from you actually doing the job. So if you talk about the fact that you want to switch from a sales role to a finance role, then you need to begin to participate in finance tasks. Even within your sales space, there are tasks that have to do with numbers and figures and budgets and projections and all of that. You need to begin to put your hands up for those things and seek, immerse yourself in the job experience. That's the first step to achieving your objectives. You cannot put your objectives on paper and sit back and say, oh, don't worry. It's not, the training is not enough. 70% of what you need to actually do is from doing the job. Sometimes some people say, oh, but I'm not in that role. Find roles that put you there. Volunteer. People are always, within your organization, do you have people that are doing that same job? Can you ask them if you could help them out once in a while? If you don't have people, doing the same thing in your organization, you have them elsewhere. Broaden your network. Put your hands out to help. And in that way, you're immersing yourself and getting all the experience you need on the job. So you're already 70% on the way to achieving your goals. 20% you can get from others, typically through coaching and feedback, because you cannot achieve this on your own. You're going to need support from other people. And it's important that we know that feedback, coaching, development can happen both vertically and horizontally. That means that you can get feedback and development from your superiors. You can even get it from your peers, and you can also get it from your juniors. Because the funniest thing? Technology is evolving. Careers are evolving. The new entrants into the company are coming in with knowledge that your 20 years of experience may not have given you. So you need to make yourself open to tap from them, because those are the skills of the future. So it's important that as we're learning on the job, we're also learning from others. And that's just only 10% of what you need that you can get from formal training. And formal training is not just restricted to your classroom, but virtual learning. And the world of today is such that there is so much learning available in the virtual space, most of them for free. There's hardly anything that you want to learn that if you type in on Google, you will not find a link to some learning platform that has it. For so many skills, you already even have videos on YouTube that can actually guide you through it. So it's very important that we do not lose sight of formal learning, because you need to keep building on your skills. Like I said, there's a lot of changes happening in the world every day. So if you do not keep building on your skills, you'll suddenly find yourself very obsolete. And this fourth one cements everything together, your network. You need to build and leverage on the right network. emphasis from me is on the right network, because your network would either make or mar you. You need to surround yourself with people who understand and can help you drive your goals. So for example, if you set a goal that you want to save 500,000 by the end of this year, but your circle of influence are people who you have to buy Ashwebi every 2 weeks. And you guys have to hang out every Friday, and you need to show up, you need to be the big boy or you need to be the big girl. Or you're in a circle where you're judged by how expensive your hair is. If you've not started wearing bone straight, then you have not arrived. How are you going to be able to save 500,000 at the end of this year? So it's very, very important that you build and you leverage on the right network. Right network. And then, we've talked about the fact that you need to measure your PDP. You need to constantly evaluate and measure. So these are just steps that, for me, has worked in terms of being able to evaluate how I have done in my professional development plans. The first thing is you have to have a plan to evaluate. It's a different thing to have a PDP. It's a different thing to have a plan that I would constantly be tracking and measuring my PDP. So when you have that plan, that's when you can say, oh, I'm going to sit down and do a review in 6 months. I'm going to sit down and do a review in 6 weeks, depending on what the goal is. Because if it's a goal that I'm not going to have achieved in the next 3 months, then it's not going to make sense for me to do a monthly evaluation of that goal. So I'm going to set that target to say, in 3 months, I'm going to evaluate this goal because I expect that I have achieved this goal in 3 months. And then once you agree on that, you need to schedule it. We need to learn to begin to diarize or calendarize these things. We all have smartphones. Even the not smartphones have calendars on them. Put it in your calendar. Let a reminder come up to prompt you on that day. Have it scheduled. That way you cannot lose sight of it. And it's very important that we celebrate. When you hit your milestones, give yourself a treat. It doesn't have to be monetary, but give yourself a pat at the back, Oh, just because I hit this milestone, I'm going to watch a movie. Just because I hit this milestone, do you know what? I'm actually going to sleep in tomorrow and wake up later. But do something just for you to celebrate that you've hit these milestones. Because it's the same way that, when we hit targets at work, we expect our managers, we expect the company to celebrate us. But the question is, have we celebrated ourselves? Because the same way you say that when your manager celebrates you, it motivates you to do more. It's the same way when you celebrate yourself, it's going to motivate you to do more in achieving your goals. And then accountability is very, very important. You need to make yourself accountable, and you need to choose accountability partners, people that can hold you accountable, people that you can share your dreams with, you can share your goals with, and they will hold you to account. They will constantly check up on you. They will constantly offer you opportunities to be able to achieve that dream. You need those accountability partners. And above all, like I said, and I said this earlier, we need to make our plans flexible. We need to constantly evaluate and look around and see if there's a need to adapt certain things, either based on our situation or based on our environment. And I believe that Allah willing, if we do follow this, it would help and be a step forward for us in achieving our professional goals. I don't think that there's a one template fits all for PDPs. And the beautiful thing is there's so many templates online that you can tap into. So I do have a template that I use, but I'm not sharing that. But I'm just asking us to, go and do the extra leg of research. So these are just some templates that you would find online, and basically just to talk us through it. So this is a very, very simple, like if you're at the basic of your career, this is a very simple PDP template that you can adapt. What's your situation? Remember, we talked about the fact that you need to assess where you are. So what are you already doing? That's your situation. What are your career goals? That's you now putting your goals together. And remember, it has to be smart. And then you then do your skills evaluation. What are the skills gap that you have? And once you identify your skills gap, so your skills gap is basically you doing a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths, your weaknesses? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? And from that, you're able to come up with actions that will help you address the skills gap. And then, you need to put in your evaluation timelines. How often do you want to review or evaluate? This is one template. This is also another template, which, maybe once you're more senior or you have more complex goals, it's better that you then split them. You have a PDP for goal 1, a PDP for goal 2, where you basically talk about your development goal. And I like the fact that I talked earlier that it's better that you use action words and you make it in the first person. So you say that I will improve this so that I can do that. And then I will know that I have been successful when this is done. So it's going to be specific and it's going to be measurable. And then you now list the specific tasks and activities towards achieving that goal. And remember, you need to have timelines, so target dates. And then you need to be able to identify the help that you would need. Are you going to need a mentor? Are you going to need support from your line manager? Sometimes it could even be family support, because if you're going to be taking classes that are going to require, take more of your time, you may need to be able to get support from the family in terms of pushing off some of the family workload. If you're going to be taking some courses that would involve you spending more money, you may need to actually go back to the family to say, oh, I may not be able to do so much that I have been doing financially because I have this goal. So you need to be able to identify the support that you need. And then if you see, it's also important to do that review. You identify who you would be doing the review with, and you constantly update your review as well. So these are just samples. There are a million samples online. I would encourage that you go try different ones and see what works for you based on your realities. And just to also, in conclusion, to wrap up, it's very important that we don't over-label our PDPs and just yes, you could have your 10, 20-year plan, but it's important that you then break them down into micro buckets. So at every point in time, my recommendation is that your PDP goals should be between 3 to 5 at every point in time. Once you achieve one, you can take it off and bring in another one, but so that you're not just chasing shadows. And within each goal, your target activities should typically not exceed 5 as well, so that you can actually focus on achieving those. Thank you. So that's it from my hand. I'll be happy to hand over now to Anachayola.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam. Indeed, you have given us a very good path towards achieving both personal and professional development plans. And I must confess, with the explanations, I hope a lot of us, after this presentation, at our leisure time, we can sit down and now draw out our own simple PDP, professional development plan. If you like it, you can call it personal development plan. So that would be a take-home assignment. We want to look at questions. We have our experts. Also some of the things we have asked. I'm trying to look at the question. I think we have one hand up. Mr. Ibrahim, can you ask your question? You can unmute and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Mr. Ibrahim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah,
Could
my
you
question
please
is
be laudable? We can't hear you well.
okay. As my question now is based on the smarts. Like now, I set a goal for maybe 4 months. So now I was, trying to achieve it, but I was unable to achieve the goal. So, what other things I can do? Can I also, try to readjust myself? So, what can I do to also move forward in order to achieve that goal that I am aiming to achieve?
Okay, thank you.
I've set the goal, I was unable to achieve it.
Thank you very much. So the first thing is, have you evaluated? Have you done your evaluation? Because part of what you will achieve from your evaluation is to identify what actually affected you achieving that goal. Because if you do not actually identify what the blockers are to achieving that goal, in the next 6 months, you still will not have achieved that goal.
Okay.
So it's fine for us to be flexible, but you need to be able to evaluate. When you identify what we have in the block, it could be things that were outside of your control. So for example, somebody who had a goal to say, I was going to start a program last year, and then COVID came. It was out of that person's control. So if the person had been somebody who had been doing regular evaluation, even before the final timeline you set, you would have realized the fact that I cannot achieve this goal because of COVID. And you would have been able to put in the adjustments into your plan. Remember, I said the plans have to be flexible. If it's something where you needed funds for and you were not able to get the funds for it, you now need to adjust your plans to also focus on how are you going to raise the funds to be able to achieve this goal. So it's very important that you evaluate, and then from there you can actually find a way to better achieve your goals. I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Brian.
Mr. Brian, I hope. Okay, I have another person. Mr. Kadri. Mr. Kadri Sikiru, can you talk now? You can unmute yourself. Mr. Kadri Sikiru, can you talk? Can you ask your question?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Okay. I said I really appreciate the lecture, and thank you.
Is that all? Any question?
I think he's having connectivity. You can type in the chat box and I'll be happy to take questions from the chat box as well.
Yes.
I can already see one from Mr. Abdulwasiu Kolapo. How often can one review his PDP? And basically, it depends on the goals. At the point you're setting your goals, you should be able to put in your evaluation timelines depending on each goal. So
based on
there is no one size fits all.
Yeah, you said most of.
Sorry, Mr. Kadiri, you can go now. Your connectivity was off before. That was why I took a question from the chat.
Mr. Kadiri, can you talk? Can you talk now? Hello? If you are not there, you can mute yourself, please.
Can you hear me?
Any other?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay. Why during the lecture, you made mention of most of what you need professionally is an in-house. Why doing that particular work profession that you are doing, the experience. But in the case of someone that most times he doesn't spend so much here with working with people, he's never satisfied working with people. He just want to be an entrepreneur on his own. But when you want to do that, you need to work with people, gather experience. But with time, he discovered that from one employment to another, his course of his professional choice and professional sojourn changes from time to time. Just as you said, that for example, you are in a particular company, a construction company, you want to go into construction already, that's what you study. But when in another, you add in another company, you add other professional, and it's changing your PDP from time to time. Most times, it now ended that after 5 years, what you planned, you're not able to achieve that. Though you are acquiring skills different skills from different, and coming together, adding all this together to get one. It has been a challenge. Most times, your PDP is not.
Mr. Kadri, can you ask your question?
Achieve this country. I've been speaking now. I asked my question. I said why she was leaving the lecture. She said most of what a professional requires.
No, so Mr. Kadri, I think I got your question. You went off for a bit, but I think I got the gist of your question. And it's what you've described is something that a lot of Nigerian young people have found themselves in. So typically, because of the challenges of our environment and the labor market challenges, you find people going into whatever job opportunity opens up. And then you leave that one for whichever one opens up. In that case, you're not adjusting your professional development plan because you're taking whatever is available. While you're taking whatever is available, you should still have your career plan. So you want to go into HR, but what is available is a customer service job. And of course, you need to put food on the table. So while you're doing the customer service job, do you still have the HR as your personal professional development goal? Because what happens is, the moment you take the customer service job, you put the HR dream aside, you adjust your PDP to be picking up all the customer service skills. And then 2 years down the line, somebody gives you a marketer role, and then you suddenly change. At the end of the day, it's going to be haphazard because really you've not harnessed everything together. Remember that where you start your PDP from is knowing what the future goal is. And even while you take different detours, you still need to keep your eye on the goal. You need to keep your eye focused on the goal. If things change, it should be once in a while. But if things change every time you change your job, then you also haven't matured enough into being able to harness your goals. So it's just very important. Know that you're not just changing because of your current reality. Your professional development plans are about your long-term goals. It's the bridge to your future. I hope that answers your question, though. Because in this instance, if the goal is to actually go into entrepreneurship, while you're changing all these roles, have you been focused on? I hope that does answer your question. If not, you can just drop a question in the chat. I'm trying to go through the chat. So there's someone saying that self-discovery is something I would like our speaker to touch on, and the fact that we all need to know what works for us, our peculiarities. Absolutely. Remember that at the start of my session, I said that we are all in different stages. We all have different goals. So until you're on the first goal, the first step really is, before you can say, I know where I'm going, you need to have done some self-discovery. I remember that when we talked about the steps, we said you need to do self-assessment. Your self-assessment is part of the self-discovery journey or the self-discovery process. It helps you identify who you are and what will work for you. Also remember that I said that there is no one size fits all in terms of even a PDP template, because we're all unique, our needs are different. Some of us don't even like anything that involves too much words. The moment there are plenty of words, even you that you put it together will not be able to follow it. So it's about finding you and finding what works for you. So I absolutely agree that self-discovery is very key. Okay, somebody asked for my LinkedIn. It's Rashidat ADD-Balogun. I'll see if I can put it in the chat box before the end of the session. So I don't know if there are other questions.
Okay.
Mr. Shamsuddin, are you trying to ask a question?
No, I think he's just joining. Just joining.
Okay.
If you have a question, you can raise up your hand. We are gradually moving towards the next item. So I think at this junction, I have to allow you to have some rest. Our guest speaker.
Thank you very much, sir.
So we want to thank you very much for the opportunity you have given us. More importantly, most of us that are youth, that will still have a lot to achieve. You have put the template down for us. You have also challenged us. So, and I want to encourage everybody, let's sit down, make our PDP, and we can get in touch for guidance or support, technical support. And what we want to hear is that Havek has contributed to our achieving some of the daunting goals we have set for over some years and we have not been able to achieve. So in the next 1 year, those are the things we want to hear from some of us as testimonials. So thank you very much, Ma. So we'll quickly go on to the next thing. I want to do an interlude. I want to show us an interlude. So I'm going to share my screen. The interlude summarizes what have been discussed today. Hope you can see. Just let's watch. We don't even need the sound. Just let's watch carefully. And that's the summary.
sẹ́yìn náà ní kámẹ́rì wèrè wọ́n kàn rí ìdìkì ń bẹ̀. Wọ́n rí mi látọ̀kọjá. Ẹni ní ọ̀nà bá ṣe ń wa mọ́tò gálọ́pù.
I think we still have some questions. We still have some questions in the house. You can watch from the video. Success is the way you define it. Success is the way you define it. So life is a circle at different time, different period. You have one or two things to achieve. in life. And that is what that video has captured. So you can see, and from our first lecture, we were told that some things will actually redefine the way you see success at the end of the day. Since our first lecturer made us to realize that success is when you attain 12 pitches in life, and he actually took us through those line of thought. They are 12 in number. So we need to define our own success. We need to come up with our own PDP. So we pray God will assist us to achieve best of what we have planned for ourselves. So, Madam, can you help us still answer to one or two questions?
Oh, definitely, sir.
Okay. So I think you can see some of those questions.
Let me try to pull.
Okay, I think it's you. You are trying to.
Yeah, so somebody I'd responded to that on the chat. Person said, do you not think finance is a challenge to many written PDPs? Said, if finance is a challenge, then that means that's an issue. Remember we talked about you being able to identify the blockers. So that means you need to build an action plan to address the financial issues. You need to actually have a plan on how you address finance. Otherwise, setting a goal that you already know that. Remember we said our goals have to be achievable within our resources. So setting a goal that you know you do not have the financial capacity to achieve is almost you setting a goal that you know you will not achieve. So why not fix the financial issue and then come back to the goal?
Okay. So thank you very much, Ma. So do we still have other questions?
Somebody had asked for my LinkedIn, so I put my LinkedIn link in the chat box for anybody who wants to connect. It's Rashidat Balogun.
Okay. So Mr. Brahman, Adoge, are you still there, sir? Can you unmute yourself?
I'm hosting you, so I can't go anywhere. I'm fully on ground.
Okay, sir. Okay, can we have a good message from you before I give out what Havek have in stock for us next month?
Okay, thank you very much, opportunity, and I want to thank our speakers, presenters, our first speaker, Mr. Joshua, and my very eloquent sister, Rashidat. They never disappointed or expected less from them, and they gave exactly the stuff they are made of. And I want to thank our participants majorly for, at least to a large extent, paying attention and keeping to the rules. We appreciate that a lot, and we pray that subsequent sessions, please, when we log in, please kindly put your phones on mute so that we'll benefit. When we get echoes, we don't get clear receptions from what the speakers are giving. So we thank you all for your patience. It was really nice seeing about 64, 65 people coming in for this. Well, it shows we are going the whole route to impact, and they're really eager to learn from us clearly what we have in stock. Please don't feel shy. The speakers have tasked every one of us. On a lighter note, we have seen that PDP has other meanings, but in life, whatever you do, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And my sister just clearly rounded up with the response she gave to the person. Yes, finance might be key, but if you don't have an idea and you are still put in a particular location and trying to make a step towards actualizing your goal, then you are stuck for life. You can't go further than that. So in everything you do, in as much as finance is key, your goals, your missions, your visions should be your key driver. Make plans that are realistic. Follow the SMART rules. Make SMART, they are smart, specific, measurable. That is key. Always have time to come back and appraise what you are doing at all times. And let it be time bound. Okay, I want to achieve to be a doctor of letters, I mean, in a particular field. What time frame do you have in mind? Within the next 5-7 years, I want to be true with my master's and my PhD. Okay, in my lifetime, I want to be sure to contribute to at least 3 NGOs. Who are the NGOs? You name the NGOs you want to work for. So these are things, you put them down. Like she said, we must always put things down in paper. Things that in your brain are not actualized. Things that in paper gives you a target. I pray Allah guides every one of us, actualize our dreams and meet our goals. Please, we'll be going on with various sessions to appraise what we are learning. We hope we'll be able to carry you along with it and try as much as possible to contribute to the Ummah as much as possible. Thank you very much, Havek. Thank you very much, our speakers, for a very well educative session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Abdurrahman Adoge. And thank you for your support so far. You have always been supporting Havek. So we really appreciate that. So, Alhaja Rashida, your final thought and advice to the youth. So we have a lot of non-professional on this platform.
Yes, somebody just asked the question to me privately, but I'd rather just answer so that everybody learns from me.
Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I said, somebody just asked the question and was sent to me privately, but I'd rather answer to everybody. And I think I'll use that to round off by sharing how that has benefited me in my career as well. So the question is, while you were presenting, you mentioned volunteering. Can this be involved in PDP? Absolutely. Because sometimes you actually need to be able to give that volunteering to pick up certain skills. There are some skills that you would only learn by volunteering. Not all of us would have the opportunity to have the job opportunities to practice some of the skills. But I tell young people that at every point, if you cannot volunteer, you're not going to grow. Because for every volunteering task you take on, there is some skills that you will learn. I've been volunteering since my teenage years. I started volunteering at 16 when I got into Yaba College of Technology, and I am still volunteering. And I can tell you that the growth of my career is attributable to the skills I learned while volunteering. And maybe that would answer the first question Mr. Yola asked when he was reading my intro, and he said he doesn't know what ISEC is. ISEC is a global youth-led organization, basically for youth development and world peace. It was started out to drive for world peace, and then it evolved basically into a leadership factory. And it sees volunteering because, you know, you have to do everything. There was no payment, but there was structure. So when you apply yourself in such a space, you learn so much. My first exposure to HR was in ISEC, and I was Vice President Talent Management at ISEC in Ibadan. And at that point, as an undergraduate, I was already doing recruitment. I was already doing performance management. I was already doing trainings. I was putting together slides. Those skills are skills that are still useful for me today. And sometimes even when we support our parents, and that's very important to realize that no matter what, there's no skill that is a waste. So I remember both my parents are accountants, and I'd always said I never wanted to study accounting. But I used to go to work with my mom sometimes and help out. And that was where I owned my Excel skills because, you know, as an accountant, in fact, there were times when if I don't go, some of our employees will call me and say, oh, Buki, won't you come and visit mommy today? I'm like, I'm not coming to visit mommy. Please come now. We're trying to reconcile this shit and there's some 15 naira that is missing and we cannot find it. So please come. And those Excel skills, that was even before I got into the university. Those Excel skills have stood me instead today. So my admonition is that let us seek every opportunity to volunteer. And in volunteering, let us seek every opportunity to maximize the skills that we get. Masalam.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum salam. So I really appreciate all you have given to us on the platter of gold today. And I want to pray that may the good Lord continue to spare your life for more contribution, positive contribution to humanity and social services. More importantly, to the development of the youth, because you are a proud youth advocate. So thank you very much, Mark. I'm grateful. So and I want to, from that, I want to go on to what Havek has in stock as news for us all. And number one is Havek is a leadership academy. So at Havek, our focus is on the youth, essentially. Youth, young professionals, then the professionals that have already made it, like our madam in the house, like Mr. Joshua, that they've rendered their thoughts and they've assisted us in some areas today, and we have really learned from their thoughts and their years of experience in the field. So these are the people Havek want to bring together so that those that are already experienced professionals, they can help us mentor the youth, they can help us in training of the youth, and we can have a better leaders, better future for all at the end of the day. So in pursuing that goal, we from January we stated some free Bono program things we are doing for free. And so we started with one last month, and that is on how do you navigate out of the challenges posed by the second wave of COVID-19. So moving forward, this month we have made it a bumper package, and we have done a 2 days, 1 weekend program. So yesterday we treated you and your business in 2021, and for those of us that joined, we can all agree that it was an interesting and eye-opening program. And today too was more attended, even more than yesterday. So we got a lot of support from all of us that are audience, for our patients, our experience. At any point in time, we were not less than 60 at this event, since we have got to the middle of the program. So we want to thank us for that. So what we have in stock with us in moving forward, aside exposing us to how we should go about our personal and professional development plan, is that in the next month, employability training, and it's a course. So it's a course we'll be having for like a couple of 2 days. It's going to be a full-time course, and we'll try to make it a weekend program. We'll get back to all of us, but it's going to be a subsidized one. It's not going to be a free program. That's for March. In April, we also have part 2 of that course, where you learn about how to build your CV. So our speakers, both of them, stress the need for us to do our personal branding very well. So, and your personal branding starts from your CV. So we are going to learn that in that course at the part 2 in April. We are also going to learn how to win an interview, and we are going to do practical sessions on that. And that is more reason you need to be part of our future program. So in May, we'll have free programs. We still have some couple of free programs in June, but for next month, it's going to be a subsidized and it's going to be a fairly paid program. So we want to thank all of us. We want us to keep and watch out for the programs from Havek. We always see us at your social media, your Facebook, your Twitter. We always advertise and publicize our program widely. And when you see programs like that, because of what you have benefited, so we should also extend it to our social networks, all our networks, all our friends, all our close associates. More importantly, people you identify that they need this thing. So employability training is lacking in the university curriculum as I'm talking. I'm from the university environment, so it's lacking in the university curriculum, and Havek has come to bridge that gap. So when we organize such program, we want all of us to be part of it. So once again, I want to thank us, and I look forward to our support, our participation, our attendance in our future program. Please, so let's note it, and let's watch out for our next event. So we thank you all, and I want to bring this program to a close because we promised that we are closing by 4 o'clock. So thank you, everybody, and God bless.